We're joined on the phone by Terry Bellinger, the owner of Belly's Mountain View Inn. That's near the cabin where the DNA was found. He spoke to a man who claims to have seen a stranger inside his cabin. Terry, thanks so much for being here. Tell us exactly what you heard from your friend.
It was probably Saturday, close to noon. I would say we opened at 10 in the morning. So I only know this gentleman by his first name, John. He came in, and of course the troopers and the investigators were all with him. They sat in our building, our bar restaurant there they probably interviewed him for a couple of hours, and then he needed a glass of water, and he was hungry, and he didn't have any money on him, and so I said, what do you need to eat, John? We got him his water and stuff. And while he was away from the investigators and police for a minute, he just, he goes, Belly says, there was somebody at our camp. Somebody broke in our camp. And you could see he was visibly shaken. I mean, he said he just drove up to check on camp for whatever reason. He didn't elaborate on that. But as he approached camp, one person running away, didn't get a look at him or anything, went inside, said, somebody broke in. There was somebody there, and he didn't saw him running away. But there was a jug of water on the kitchen table that they never seemed to use, and a jar of peanut butter that was open. So he said, I'm not saying it, and he told me, he says, I'm not saying it was those guys, but definitely somebody broke in our camp, and one guy ran away as I approached the camp.
Wow. Give us an idea of what this area is like. How difficult would it be to get to some of these cabins? I don't know if you know what John's cabin was like, but, are there a lot of these cabins out there? Are they difficult to get to? Are they little houses or more like little sheds?
They're hunting camps. Most of them are hunting camps. They're on most of the camps are on forestry land. They're big forest companies that sell the trees off for logs and timber. And what they do is they lease the land to these guys that want to hunt on it. Most of them hunt white-tailed deer. So there are hunting camps. Nothing elaborate. Some of them are pretty nice, but the guys that use them in hunting, they don't use them for maybe 2-3 months a year. So it's a remote area. And from the beginning here, I've told people at our bar restaurant, I said, I'm still of the belief that these two fugitives were either 10 miles away or 10,000.
Well, and Terry, you mentioned that these camps are only used a couple months out of the year. It's typically in the fall when people go there for hunting.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had break-ins before, or how common is it to have people visiting their campsite during this time of the year?
Well, the ironic part is a lot of these hunting camps, they'll leave the doors unlocked just in case somebody gets lost and they need a shelter and something to eat. I mean, we're like that in the North Country. We trust people. We believe in the human spirit. And so a lot of the camps are unlocked. If you need shelter, you need something to eat, and you're in trouble, stay there, stay out of the weather, get something to eat, get a good night's sleep or whatever. So, but it's a remote area. We're in the Adirondacks, and there's lots of trees, and there's lots of bugs this time of year. We've had a lot of rain here in the last couple of weeks, so they've had a couple things going against them, these fugitives. But, I mean, there's hundreds of these hunting camps. So, I mean, if they just went from one to the other and bought themselves some time, I mean, who the heck knows?
So do people typically leave food in there? Like the peanut butter and the water, would that have been left in there?
Oh, I believe. I mean, canned peanut butter, I mean, these camps, most of them aren't heated in the winter, so a lot of that stuff might freeze, but when you're hungry and desperate, I think you'll probably eat anything. So, there's probably canned products in there too that might have been froze. But again, if you're hungry, you're going to eat what's available.
Yeah, and Terry, what kind of precautions are you taking and your friends in that area if, in fact, that these are the escaped convicts that are nearby?
I guess the people I feel sorry for are the elderly that are living, alone in their homes or whatever. I think they're pretty scared. I think for the rest of us, most of us are white-tailed deer hunters in the North Country. So almost all of us have some type of weapon. Rifles, a lot of guys had pistols with pistol permits, so they're legal to carry them. And most of us are fairly good shots. So, we're North Country. We protect what we have. Most of us it hasn't bothered, but I feel bad for the elderly that live at home alone.
That's a really good point. Terry Bellinger, thanks so much for talking with us.
You're very welcome.